All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing something where I'm going to combine two old video ideas I used to have back in the day, because sometimes Banshee doesn't have necessarily the most exciting weapons. Like that one time he had that Toil and Trouble that was actually amazing. This week, he doesn't necessarily have the most exciting weapons, but I do want to give you God rolled guide information on all of these weapons, so that way you can understand why certain weapons aren't as good as other weapons and where certain weapons can be used, whether it's PvE or PvP. And I want to combine that with the weekly vendor armor PSA, where I talk about the armors that the vendors bring, because they've been updated recently, and it's actually really awesome. You've got 801 armor now and failsafe armor, so I can just give you the complete weekly reset guide to weapons and armor that you want to get from all destinations. So starting off from the very top, let's start off with Banshee here. Okay, so at Banshee here, we have 6 weapons. We've got the Cold Denial, the Lonesome, the Icla Sniper, the Retro Futurist, the Falling Guillotine, and the Memory Interdict. So there's a bunch of these. Are actually, some of these are really good weapons, but one thing to keep in mind for the Cold Denial, for example, it's a 340 RPM pulse. So the Messenger is also a 340 RPM pulse, and it can roll Desperado. So pretty much this weapon is already outclassed in every way, because the perk Desperado is just so nasty, so strong. So Cold Denial, even a god roll of the Cold Denial, is not going to be as nearly as awesome as the Messenger. So you could go with a variety of different perks and rolls that you could look for. Obviously, you got multi-kill clip. You could try to use this in PvE, but honestly, it's not the best in PvE. It's not the best in PvP. And the roll Grave Robber Eye of the Storm is honestly a terrible roll. So save yourself the heartbreak. Don't try this weapon. Get yourself a Messenger if you want to use the 340 RPM pulse. Next up, the Lonesome is a 260 RPM hand cannon. Now this is, or not hand cannon, a sidearm rather. And this is one of the worst archetypes of sidearms, unfortunately. You could potentially use this in PvP or PvE. It's going to be rough though. Multi-kill clip and rapid hit would be the ideal role to go for in PvE situations. And in PvP, I mean, you're just going to get ran over by shotguns, if I'm being completely honest. But you could use kill clip, and that might not be too bad. But again, that role is bad and that weapon is bad. So it's kind of a double, you know what I'm saying? You don't really want to use that weapon. But moving on to the next one now. It's not all negative, I promise. Next one, we have the Icla Sniper Rifle. Now, triple tap gives you free ammo, so that's actually really good. And quick draw, really not the best, especially after it's been nerfed, obviously. For PvE, what you're looking for on this weapon is actually 4th times the charm in high impact reserves. That's going to be the best overall roll, and this actually has crazy damage output. This is actually some of the highest and best damage output. So if you do get this roll from Banshee from turning in packages, perhaps, or if he ever just happens to have this roll, make sure to grab that one, because that is the roll. I have one of those sitting in my vault right now. It's collecting dust because there's a lot of better snipers, but overall, that is the role you're definitely looking for. And this weapon doesn't have snapshots, so you're probably not using this in PvP at all, and you're especially not using it with triple tap and quick draw. So keep that in mind. This role is not half bad for PvE because it has triple tap, but unless you're just absolutely desperate and need a sniper, that's probably the only time you'd use that. That is not a very good role sniper, and then the archetype is not the best right now either. Retro Futurist. This is actually a really dope shotgun if you get the right roll on it. This, however, is not the right roll on it. If we go into light.gg, we can pull up the Retro Futurist, so you can get quick draw, snapshot. That's actually really nice. You can get quick draw, swashbuckler. Anything with quick draw is going to be fire, of course, for PvP. And then in PvE, you're really not going to use this archetype of shotgun. It's that mid-range and mid-RPM shotgun, rather. And it's just not as potent in PvE right now, so keep that in mind. And it's not a slug shotgun, which is really what you want to use when you're in PvE right now. So unfortunately, this Retro Futurist roll is a terrible roll. It feels bad. We're going to move on to the next one. The Falling Guillotine. It's got energy transfer and an unguard. Falling Guillotine used to be super nasty. Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade is the roll you're looking for on that. So again, not the god roll. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the Memory Interdict, which has Underdog and Chain Reaction. Now, this could actually be not too bad for ad clear, but what you're really looking for on this weapon is a PvP roll that I've talked about before, where you've got Impulse Amplifier. It massively increases projectile velocity. That's what you want there. And you want Chain Reaction, so you get a kill, explodes people. And then you want Proximity, because on power grenade launchers, you can use Proximity. It removes blast radius, but power grenade launchers are so powerful that it's definitely worth it, so that way you get kills with it. Anyways, so Proximity, Impulse Amplifier, and Chain Reaction is really nasty. In terms of PvE, it really doesn't have the best PvE perks, so you're really not looking for a PvE roll overall. Chain Reaction could feel pretty good on this at times, but honestly, you really aren't going to use this too much in PvE unless you want to just give Chain Reaction a try. So keep that in mind. As far as God rolled weapons from Banshee, not the best overall, but stay tuned, because there is some really crazy armor out there for all of the vendors. So I'll cut to this scene here, and I'm not going to go around to all the vendors like I used to back in the day, because there's literally just so many different armor pieces to talk about that it would take me forever to just travel around. So instead, I'm going to make this nice and simple. I'm going to say if you go to the Drifter, I'm going to start with the Hunter, okay? I'm going to go class by class. Hunter, and then Titan, and then Warlock. And that's the Hunter has the best armor this week, so I'm always going to go the best class. So Hunter, Titan, Warlock, all go in that order, okay? So the Hunter armor this week is insane. If you're a Hunter out there, rejoice, okay? Drifter has a pair of boots, okay, that have 22 recovery and 25 intellect with a 55 overall stat. That's crazy, okay? That's going to be especially nice if you're playing in trials where, you know, matches get slow at times, people end up in super battles, round 3, etc. You're going to want these pair of boots, okay, if you can get them from the Drifter. Very, very strong pair of boots. Next up, we have Zavala, and he has a pair of gauntlets that actually have 22 recovery, 12 intellect, and 15 strength with a 55 overall stat. A very nice pair of gauntlets from Zavala for your Hunter. And along with that, he actually has a helm that actually has a 62 stat overall, which is really crazy for these vendors. I mean, you can literally just go and grab a 60 plus stat armor piece. That's unbelievable. This has 20 mobility, 6 recovery, and 30 discipline. Really strong helmet. Make sure you grab that from Zavala on your Hunter, even if you're not a Hunter man, okay? Just go grab it, all right? Next up is the vendor Ada1. Now, Ada1 has a pair of gauntlets that are actually really crazy. They have 61 stat overall, which is already just like unbelievable that you can just go pick up a 60 plus stat roll. They have 30 mobility, 16 intellect, and 9 strength. So a very, very strong pair of gauntlets from Ada1. After that, we're going to go on our Hunter still. There's still good stuff out there. Shax, we're going to go see this gauntlet. He has a 57 stat roll gauntlet. Now, this one's more evenly distributed. 8 mobility, 14 resilience, 6 recovery, 13 discipline, 14 strength. Pretty strong overall. And then he also has a pair of boots for your Hunter. Shax does, with 22 recovery, 19 discipline, and 6 strength with a 53 stat overall. So one of the lower boots, but the distribution is nice with recovery and discipline, so keep that in mind. Next up, we're going to go talk to Devram, and he has a chest, a gauntlet, and a helm. So the chest is 58 stats overall with 26 discipline. The gauntlet is 55 stats overall, pretty evenly distributed if that's what you're looking for. And then the helmet is a 59 stat roll with 22 resilience and 21 strength. So if you're trying to get some high resilience build on your Hunter, which, you know, you don't really need high resilience, but you do need at least 5 in my opinion. PvP, you can definitely find that there. And Failsafe now has updated armor, which is always really cool. And Failsafe has an awesome pair of boots that have 26 resilience, 6 discipline, and 18 intellect with a 56 overall stats. So, wow, unbelievable. The Hunter, if you're a Hunter, man, get out there, go to all those vendors, like I said, and you can, after visiting all of them, have just crazy stats overall for PvP, PvE. You can have all the builds in the world after just 1 week, which is pretty crazy. Bungie going crazy with these vendor armor pieces for sure. Next up, we have the Titan, and he has a pair of Drifter gauntlets at the Drifter, and they have 55 overall stat, 10 resilience, 16 recovery, 16 discipline, a pretty even distribution, so a pretty nice pair of gauntlets for your Titan. We're on the Titan character, of course, like I mentioned. And the helmet he actually has 8 mobility, so a little bit of wasted stats there, but 18 recovery, 14 intellect, 6 discipline, and 9 strength. So a pretty decent pair, a pretty decent helmet from the Drifter. Next up, we're going to go to Zavala and look at a pair of boots he has for your Titan. They have a 56 stat overall with 21 recovery, 13 intellect, and 12 strength. So great stat distribution for a Titan. I mean, we need to be able to bonk things with our punches. So we got strength, we got super energy, and then, of course, resilience, a little bit of resilience, and a good amount of recovery. So that's really nice to see. Zavala bringing some nice boots for the Titan mains out there. Next up, we're going to go to Ada1 and look at what boots she has. Ada1 has a 55 stat roll boots. Very even distribution. So if you're looking for more of a, you know, down the middle, even distribution build, you'll want to go there and visit Ada1 for your Titan. Next up, we'll go talk to Devram, because he has an awesome pair of gauntlets for your Titan. He has a 16 recovery, 10 resilience, 9 intellect, and 16 strength pair. So a high recovery, high strength build for your Titan, potentially. And the last vendor we'll see for a Titan will be Failsafe for boots. Failsafe has a crazy pair of boots for your Titan. 22 recovery and 24 strength. Really crazy build. 54 stats overall, though, so a little on the lower side, but, you know, with the stats in the right places, that's definitely a cool pair of boots for your Titan. And lastly, we're going to look at the character, the Warlock. Now, the Warlock didn't have the best armor overall from all the vendors. I looked at all of them, but he did have some decent stuff out there. Definitely some stuff worth grabbing. If you go to Commander Zavala on your Warlock, he has a 63 stat pair of gauntlets. 63. Potentially the highest I've ever seen from a vendor. 15 mobility, 16 resilience, 22 discipline. Go grab that on your Warlock from Zaval if you haven't. Ada 1 has a chest piece for your Warlock. And this chest piece has a 61 stat overall with 6 mobility, 22 resilience, 14 discipline, and 15 strength. So an amazing chest piece for your Warlock. And then the last one we're going to look at is on Devrim, a helmet for your Warlock, which is a 59 stat overall, 22 resilience, 6 mobility, 20 intellect, and 7 strength. So definitely crazy armor and crazy stuff out there. I hope you found this PSA helpful. If you did, make sure to smash the like button, get out there, get to grinding for that God roll armor, and make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you want to stay up to date on all things Destiny 2. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Later.